that is being experienced is just a mental illness or a delusion or a distortion, or what is
Well,
it? What do you
I
think?
just recently got my bachelor's in psychology, and I have been taught that it's gender dysphoria. I do believe that it may be a form of mental illness. It's not just that he was born male. I mean, he is a male. He was born with male parts. He is a male. And I'm just not going to feed into the delusion that a man is a woman.
Cleveland Clinic did a study on transgender brains. And when they did the study, they found that the brain of transgender people, their brain is actually more similar to the gender they identify with than the gender that they were assigned at birth.
It is interesting, though, that as we come into this world, right, the mother is speaking facts. Number one, she's a black woman, so everyone else needs to shut up. Why is a white man trying to interrupt her?
I know, especially.
She needs to be able to speak. But on top of that, you hear the pain in her voice that she has a transgender kid, and she's saying, like, look, at some point, we've got to stop this BS. We've got to move on, and we've got to say, we acknowledge that mentally ill people exist, that people with mental disorders are real, and then maybe there are neurological facts, which I don't buy, by the way, those studies.
No.
But then maybe there are neurological reasons why this person is doing this. But it doesn't make it true. It doesn't mean that we should sponsor it. And just like people who have ghost limbs, like somebody who has an amputee and they can feel their leg, they feel like they have a leg. It doesn't mean their leg's there. Their leg's gone. Okay, you lost your leg. It doesn't matter what your brain's telling you that you still have a leg. That's a common thing. Your brain says you still have an arm, you still have a leg. It's like, no, you don't. Reality is you're an amputee, okay? Your brain's lying to you. That's the same thing with addiction, with anything. It's like, you don't need that drug. You don't need that opioid. Your brain's lying to you. It's telling you why are opioids so addictive?
That's the same with sugar, too.
Yeah, it tells you you're gonna die. When you try to quit opioids, your body thinks it's telling you you're going to die if you quit.
Yeah.
But you're not going to die. In fact, you're gonna live a better life. Our brains are deceitfully wicked, few can know them, but they're also not always honest. And you would know that if you're freaking human being.
Well, it's almost because like our brains are malleable. Like people like biohack themselves to be able to trick their brains or trick yourself into dieting better or wean yourself off of sugar. But if we're going to go with studies, I mean, John Brooks did a study that said 94 to 98% of children grow out of this gender dysphoria after puberty. And then if we're going to go with other studies, I mean, the stats reporting on who is identifying as transgender has doubled pretty much every decade with every generation since World War II. And so if we're going to look at that, it was like 1% for the greatest generation. Then all of a sudden now we're at 20%. And so it's like, maybe it's not even a mental illness. Maybe it's just societal, like grooming or cachet or a social construct, to use the term that the left constantly uses. And so, she's probably right about it being a mental illness in some cases, but even more so than that, it is just a societal contagion.
No, it is though. And I also like this new phrase, sex assigned at birth. Honey, you're a doctor, right? You can assign sex. I think it's like 16 weeks right now, I think is when the main indicators come, when you can figure out a baby's sex in the womb.
It's now at 6 weeks with like blood tests, but yeah.
No, it's now 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently insurance doesn't cover that for a lot of people, but at least like a few months, like 4 months into a pregnancy was standard, at least before this. Now it's 6 weeks apparently. You can find out a baby's sex. It's literally genetic testing probably earlier as well, in case you wanted to go in that direction. There's no assigning sex at birth. That's the weirdest thing we've come up with. What did you get assigned? The doctor didn't have the power to say, well, you're a male or a female. There's literally anatomical variations and genetic variables that actually define you of who you are. These are what are called our sex chromosomes. And unless you're retarded, which if you watch the show, maybe you are, but I also mean, you know that there are some variations with Klinefelters, and you even have, not just with sex chromosomes, you can have, XXXY, you can have different types of variations that do change the morphology of the brain, the neurological circuitry. Those are actual genetic problems. These transgenders, or the ones that go through, they're not even transsexuals, they're just people who have bought into a lie